You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
All righty, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Derek, and joined as always by our co-host, Kevin. Kevin, how we doing tonight?
I do good, man. I am officially done with all my drafts to this point, unless I decide to hop in another, 20-second best ball league here later tomorrow. But other than that, we're done. We drafted the league of record over this past weekend. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied, but there's still one fairly large hole I got to figure out how to deal with. But no, other than that, dude, we are 48, less than 48 hours away. Like, we have a game on Thursday, game on Friday. The NFL's in full swing. College football this past weekend. Some great games on TV. Great games. Opening weekend of college football gave us. So, I mean, I got no complaints, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat, right? The all the drafts are done. We were talking about that a little bit before the show started. I didn't know quite what to do, right? Like, something felt off yesterday and today, and it took me a minute to realize that I was no longer on the clock. Right, I had been on the clock for so long with so many leagues and so many weeks here that not having those notifications saying you're on the clock was a little different, and took a hot minute to realize that hey, we're not on the clock anymore. So now it's all getting prepped up, ready to go here for the season, getting those starting lineups in, getting everything squared away, ready to go here for the Thursday. And also, we are now done with Fridays, no longer having the show, right? We got the Bet Set Snap going live this Friday and returning. So that'll be good. That show's always a bunch of fun to kind of lace it up and get those ready to go. So looking forward to that. And we are T minus, we're not even 48 hours. We're well under 48 hours before that game kicks off on Thursday. So less than 2 days away from football at this point, from games that not preseason, not anything like that. We're talking actual kickoff here and the start of the regular season. I did enjoy much of the college slate there as well, right? You had some interesting things there kind of play out, and it was interesting to see how some of the people reacted to week one and some of the overreactions that inevitably came out of week one in the college football as well. That's one.
Definitely some overreactions, but I think some were spot on too. Like, I don't know that this Alabama thing is an overreaction. Like, Kalen, this was the dirty secret about Kalen DeBoer coming into Alabama, right? Played great in Washington, where no one cares about football. Oh, look at the team up in the Pacific Northwest. Good for them. It's kind of like Gonzaga in basketball. They pat them on the head, and then you play big boy ball, and things change a little bit. And DeBoer's realizing that he's got a massive ship that he's got tried to turn around. But the thing is, he's safe. They owe him like $72 million is his buyout right now, so he ain't going nowhere. So Bama's got to figure it out, or they're going to be made fun of a lot this year.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is, right, like 2 seasons ago, it was interesting, right? All of these people in the media, all of these fan reactions, all of that calling for that they Saban wasn't getting the job done, the wasn't keeping up with this, that, and the other. And I don't know that you would have seen a Saban coach team come out and fall that flat on opening weekend, right? Like that team would have been geared up, ready to go.
Now, that was a lock, right? When Saban was the head coach, the betting lock of the year was Alabama was going to cover week one.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter who they played. Alabama's going to cover week one. And now, I don't know what's going to go on. We're just going to have to check it all out.
Right. I did catch some of that Ohio State and Texas game, and that was kind of interesting to see. I was a little surprised with all the hype around Arch, and missing, just flat out missing some wide open throws there. That was a little interesting to see that one kind of come through there. But yeah, I did like everybody talking about how that was a defensive battle. I think that was more of a case that both of those teams just kind of came out flat on opening week more so than anything, right? The defenses were ready to go. The offenses looked like they needed some more time in the cooker.
Very, very vanilla. Very, very vanilla.
Yeah.
Like I just, yes, Arch was not as accurate as we wanted him to be. It looked like all the offseason hype had gotten to him a little bit. I think for Ohio State, I think they were reading press clippings, right? Oh, Texas this. Oh, Texas that. Like this offseason, no one talked about Ohio State. And I am not an Ohio State fan. I really am not. I do not like the program. I don't like how they've run it traditionally. Like I find them to be kind of sleazy, if you will. But if I'm Ohio State, I'm going in going with all the disrespect. We just won a natty. And no one's talking about us. They're talking about Texas. And that defense was hyped up. Like they were firing. Matt Patricia is going to create problems for the Big Ten. He just is. Get enough tape on it. We'll see how it looks come bowl season. And preparing for these one-off games. But in conference, I think he's going to give these Big Ten schools a lot of problems. And I mean, I don't see Ohio State losing. Penn State chokes every time they get in a big game. So until they can show that they can win, I'm not counting on that.
Right. Yeah, that is that'll be interesting to see how that one kind of plays out there. I'm not the biggest Big Ten football fan either, especially Ohio State. But yeah, it'll be interesting, right? Because it's kind of similar opinion, right? Penn State is going to do what Penn State inevitably always does. Coming down the stretch, USC doesn't seem like they've got the firepower this year. Oregon, who knows what that team is going to really look like here when coming down the stretch there. But
defensively, I think they'll be okay. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up on offense, though.
That very well could be part of the issue. So, and then they kind of kick into a easier non-conference now, right? With the Grambling states, the Ohio type of deals, and really at this point only playing 3 more ranked games all season. Right, they've got Illinois, Penn State, and Michigan, which is a little surprised Illinois is where they are in those rankings.
It's early. They'll lose to Northwestern or something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see how that one kind of rock and rolls there, but does not seem like the Big Ten is quite as competitive as they have been the last couple of seasons here.
I would concur with that.
So anyway, any other thoughts here from the opening college weekend or starting to look ahead here towards the NFL kickoff?
No, I'm looking forward towards the NFL. I'm still replaying, the home league draft in my head a little bit, like good, bad, or indifferent, but we're getting ready, starting to check rosters, all that good stuff, and be ready for Thursday.
Fair enough. And you right. You mentioned the home league. Let's go ahead and touch on that and rock and roll through that. But it was kind of interesting, right? You and I were talking during the draft while that was going on and kind of going through some of our thoughts and all of that. But what were obviously you mentioned earlier as well that you've got a hole to kind of fill there. But what were your thoughts around the draft?
So overall, I really do enjoy my roster to start this season. I really do. I think collectively better about my roster this year than what I did last year. The big exception is tight end. I waited on tight end, and I gambled, right? I gambled, and I was planning on taking tight end, and then in the when was that? In the ninth. Is that right? No, in the 11th. I was planning on taking tight end in the 11th. And then all of a sudden, some teams decided to take a second tight end in the 11th round, which kind of threw me off. And so then I said, okay, screw it. I'm just going to wait and see what kind of falls to me. And then the longer I waited, the more teams were taking backup tight ends. And guys, we start 2 IDPs. It's a super flex league, 3 wide receivers. Like, we start a ton of players. I'm not sure why everybody was going for backup tight ends instead of grabbing receiver and running back depth, but they did.
Right.
So I am starting Brenton Strange. Everybody can laugh at me now. And I got to see how this can work out, because there's some teams, there's 1 or 2 teams that definitely have some holes. Really, there's one team in particular I'd like to try and strike a deal with, because I don't believe their roster to be very good, and surely I can find something appropriate for the right tight end. We'll just have to see kind of how it goes. But other than that, I feel fine. Like, I really do. Tons of running back depth. I like my receiving room. Like, I really do feel good about the league,
Right.
at least to start with.
Once we get in there, that may change. But yeah, I had kind of similar feelings, right? And that was one of those where we were chatting while the draft was going on. I sat there and was in the 7th and ended up taking Evan Ingram, which definitely felt like that was a reach. But as the tight ends had kind of kept coming off the board and kept falling, I was glad that I took him when I did, because where I was originally planning on trying to take him in the 9th, I don't think that he would have still been there on that one. And so yeah, felt okay about that, right? The overall roster construct, feel pretty good about that as well. Yeah, we'll see, right? The as far as that week 1 goes, currently projected for that number 1, high score on that, which I don't know. Sometimes that makes me a little nervous when you're rocking and rolling into week 1 and you've got the highest score in the league projected, and you're like, ooh, I must have done really good, or the computer has way overlooked something here, and the projections are just plain wrong and off. So a little bit of that the kind of feeling out period will happen with this roster, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I felt like there are more reaches in our home league this year, and deep reaches.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Kelly take him? Ricky Pearsall going in the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was a huge reach. Then on the flip side, I thought you got tremendous value on Emeka Mbuka in the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just kind of weird. Like, I passed. So you took Ingram. I passed on Mark Andrews to go with George Pickens. And I went with George Pickens because the round previous, I picked up my second quarterback, which was Dak Prescott. So I went with the theory that the Cowboys are going to be trailing. They're going to have to air it out. It can't be CeeDee Lamb all the time. And if George Pickens can evolve into kind of where we draft T. Higgins or Jalen Waddle in previous years, right? In that second, third round kind of avenue, then I got some value on Pickens. Right. And so I was going in with that mindset, and it cost me. But here I am.
Yeah.
Like I think I have my running back depth is interesting. I like it. But I got some guys who are going to have to hold on to their timeshare, right? I have J.K. Dobbins. I grabbed Ramondre Stevenson as depth. Who else did I grab? Zach Charbonnet. So I mean, they're bench players, they're depth pieces. But if Sharps is really splitting the workload with Kenneth Walker, well, Kenneth Walker was kept for a 6th round pick, which is still good value for Kenneth Walker. But if they truly split it and I have Charbonnet in the 9th, there's tremendous value there. So we'll see how that goes. My wide receiver room is going to have to carry me. I mean, Terry McLaurin, Justin Jefferson, Ladd McConkey, George Pickens, Calvin Ridley. Like, I have Joshua Palmer as a dart throw because I wanted a piece of the Buffalo offense. Maybe he's going to be the guy, maybe not, but I'm going to ride him out for a couple weeks and kind of see what this looks like. If Shakir can't get back on the field, that only helps the Palmer piece. And if he can get off to a semi-hot start, it might help me fix my tight end situation.
Right. Yeah, that was one of those that kind of the way that draft fell this year. I really wanted to go after Trey McBride, right? Because we do have a little bit of a tight end premium. Had Trey McBride last year. My thoughts are well documented at this point as far as I think Trey McBride will lead the Cardinals again in targets this season. But so really thought about going after that one and trying to draft him in the 2nd. But every time I was mocking that one out, I felt like I was chasing either wide receiver or running back or both on that one. And quite frankly, decided that I'd rather chase tight end and I can get value later on in the draft there. Not gonna lie, this is the year that I wish we could have had 4 or 5 keepers on that one, right? Because if we'd had 4 keepers or 5 keepers, my tight end situation would have easily been fixed with either being able to keep Hawkinson in the 12th or Trey McBride in the 5th. Right. And that certainly does some different things there. But the wide receiver room for my roster, I feel good about my starting 3. Outside of that, I got a little dart throws here, but a little shaky on the depth on that one. Right?
Your top 4.
Right. Yeah, I guess Mbuka I would throw in there as okay, right? But like top 3, you feel pretty good about Nakua, London, and Wilson on that, and a start 3 wide receiver. Tillman, Pat Bryant, Mbuka, and Shaheed. Mbuka is probably a little bit safer there, and I can swap him out there. But I'm gonna need one of these other wide receivers to step up and flash pretty good.
Yeah, I think what I found interesting about this draft is normally it's crazy when you and I are drafting next to each other. Because we sit on the show and we talk football and texting back and forth and just all the things so much that we do have a similar taste in players. But with being on the phone with you and everything, like, I didn't feel like you and I were sniping each other a whole lot. Like, there was always a natural pivot. I felt kind of one way or the other, right? Like let's see here, in the 5th round. Right, we were both looking at running back. You went James Conner. Okay, fine. I had DeAndre Swift or Tony Pollard kind of right there. Again, 2 keeper leagues, so some of these guys get elevated. I went ahead and went DeAndre Swift just because of the lack of anything substantial behind him, and I think he can finish inside the top 20. Like, is he going to be a premier back? No, but I do think he can finish inside the top 20. I'm anchoring it with Bucky Irving. All the trash I talked about Bucky Irving. Right. And I ended up with him in 2 out of the 3 drafts that I did this weekend. Now, I will tell you all, I, in both instances, handcuffed him to Rachaad White. Just in case. So I did handcuff him in both instances. But outside of that, I don't know that I have any Bucky Irving, and I ended up with him twice over this weekend just because of what I felt like I wanted, how the draft board was already looking. Like, I really thought Jonathan Taylor was going to be my guy. I really did. And he went 1 pick before me, so I went Bucky Irving because after Irving, the next back off the board, James Cook, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs. Okay. Like, maybe somewhat in that same vein. James Cook, I'm worried about touchdown regression. And Ray Davis is no slouch. Like, yes, James Cook got paid, but Ray Davis was no slouch his rookie year. Kyron Williams, they now have 2 backs that they've drafted the last 2 years behind him, which maybe he doesn't see 300 touches, maybe only 280 or something like that. But how much different does this look once Matt Stafford does or doesn't go down? Who knows? And then Brees Hall, I had Brees Hall last year. I would have loved to pick Brees Hall up in the third had he come all the way back to me, but I was not willing to take him in the second. So
Right.
I kind of gave up on that one. So overall, it was interesting. I think a lot of these guys had a semi plan coming in, and then after about round 6, everybody's plan felt like it changed, with the exception of maybe yours and mine. Like,
Right.
I just wasn't quite sure what everyone else was doing at that point. And
Well,
they were
and
building a roster, but I just wasn't quite sure what they were reading on the board that they needed to make the decisions that they did.
right. Well, and I felt pretty confident on taking, like, right. You mentioned the James Conner in the 5th. I felt pretty confident that Tony Pollard would be there for me in the 6th. Just kind of the way that, right, as much as folks follow ADP in that league and kind of draft off of that, like, there was a lot of those deals from an ADP perspective. Tony Pollard was going in the 7th, 8th round type of thing. So I felt like he'd certainly still be there for me, and that didn't work out, right? And then I was like, okay, well, in the 6th, I'll be looking at Dak, right? I think Dak is going to have a tremendous year. I think that we're ultimately going to see a top 5 QB finish for him, and I was just going to go that way and play bully quarterback in a super flex league and roll out Jaden Daniels and whoever the hotter hand is between Dak and Kyler on a matchup perspective. Week in, week out, and feel really confident about that. When you took him there, right, went a pivot, and I've learned with this league, especially, like, kind of map that out of where I think players are going to go, who's going to be available in which round, and kind of map my way through it from okay, if I'm taking running back here, maybe I don't take running back in this round, and I'm going to pivot to wide receiver, and these are my wide receivers I want to look at. So definitely have it where I very much have it kind of mapped out how I want to draft it, and then let the board fall to me and just pivot with it as well, right? Whereas I think part of the reason you and I didn't have that feeling of getting sniped all the time, because we've done that where drafting back to back, and by the time we get done with those drafts, oftentimes it's an exercise in patience more than anything else, because I snipe you one round, you snipe me the round coming back, and it's just a matter of frustration a lot of times. Whereas I think this time around, right, with the keepers that we had and where we were looking at and how those first 2 or 3 rounds went, pivoted and changed everything to the point of what we were looking at the rest of the draft, so that we were kind of looking, right, when I was looking running back, you were looking wide receiver, and vice versa, and we just kind of kept flowing through that. But I would think that really after about round 4 is where a lot of folks plan, whatever they came into it kind of got thrown out the window, and they started just trying to swing for the fences on every pick.
Yeah, there was some feel to that. So, and we'll see how it all shakes out, right? I mean, some of these teams I really don't mind. Like, some are a little old, some definitely need some young guys to really step up. Everybody has a hole, right? Some are bigger than others, but everybody does have a hole in the home league. I feel fortunate, I guess, that I feel like my hole's at tight end and it's not at quarterback or receiver or running back. But I might be singing a different tune come week 4, week 5.
Right.
So
right.
At the moment, this, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to wait for not bye weeks, even the first couple weeks of the waiver wire,
Uh-huh.
and just see who some of our league mates decide to drop. some guys are going to be inconsequential and it's no big deal. And then inevitably there's always one or two drops in our league that are head scratching. And if you have your fab set up appropriately and you're in the right spot, you snag it.
Right.
Lad McConkey
Mm-hmm.
last year. The year before that, it was who was it the year before that? I don't recall. I'm not going to waste time thinking about it. But in the last couple of years, there's been one or two guys who are going, really? Okay.
Right. And inevitably somebody picks him up and keeps him as a 20th round keeper at that point. So
why not?
Right. So. That I do like that draft penalty deal just because it allows you to really hone in on value and keep some of that. So much so though.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Before we get going into our breakdowns here on who we're thinking division side of things, any other thoughts on the home league, or should we hop into some of these questions and comments?
Now let's get into questions and then we'll jump into our picks for division winners and playoff projections.
All righty. Kyle over on YouTube asking or saying that they have Josh Allen. Do I double flex Shakir and Coleman, or do I start Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon? You don't flex.
I wouldn't either. I would lean Shakir in week 1 if he's fully healthy, right? Shakir is nursing an injury. So you got to keep tabs on that. And then if you need to flip that over to Coleman, that's fine. But I would definitely start Jacoby Myers with the Raiders going up against the Saints. I feel like this is a week where Jacoby should be fairly productive. The Saints team is not going to be very good this year. We're kind of up in the air on what we feel like the Raiders aren't going to be, but I do think Geno Smith is more than capable of finding Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers.
Right. I like that. I would agree.
And
with
Ollie
that.
Gordon, no.
Yeah.
Achan started practicing again on Monday. He's I think the Dolphins are going to do something really stupid and they're just going to ride him until he really injures himself. So definitely keep Ollie Gordon around, but for now, I'd tell you Myers and then either or of the Bills wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm only starting one of Buffalo on the wide receiver side of things, and I would also lean the Jacoby Myers side of things there as well, right? The Ollie Gordon train is a nice.
Binkin, you're right. It's Arizona. Sorry, it's not. It's New England and the Raiders. It's Arizona and the Saints. My apologies.
So, yeah, I would, and I would lean with very similar to what you're thinking there with Shakir and then probably Myers. Keeping an eye on the Shakir injury side of things there. Binkin saying, my guys, evening fellas. Sorry they're late to the party. Well, you're here. That's the important thing. Binkin saying, hey, if you had to choose a defense week 1 between the Saints and the Panthers, who you picking?
I think I'm going Carolina by a hair.
I think I would probably concur with that. Yeah, I would lean that same way. So, Kyle saying the Panthers on that one. And yep, we already hit that one up. Kyle saying start 2. Yeah, so Kyle, with that, it's Shakur. If Shakur doesn't go, then it's Coleman, and Jacoby Myers would be the other one. Lincoln is saying lap. I'm not quite sure what that one's about, but straight up run in there. So, Interesting. Alrighty. Well, guys, and again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, throw those in the chat. We'll hit those up and we'll keep rocking and rolling through it. Yeah, as we start looking through this thing and we start kind of looking ahead towards the season, right? Like this is the show we typically call out our thoughts on who the division winners will be. So with that, let's go ahead and just start the NFC East and who you got winning the division for the NFC East.
The NFC East, I'm gonna take Philly. I think they're the most complete team going into the season. And yes, they kind of had a shorter off season. Maybe some would argue Super Bowl hangover, but I think that Sirianni is going to have this team in the right headspace. I think that they have a good infusion of youth to go along with some veteran leadership, some guys who've definitely been around, obviously a ton of guys who are coming back from that Super Bowl winning team. So I know it could be kind of hot to pick Washington to kind of come up and take that away, but I do think Philly's going to end up taking the East there in the NFC.
Fair enough, right? Now we haven't seen a repeat winner of the NFC East since back in 2004. It has been a hot minute since we've seen that. So that is a little bit of a bold pick, calling for Philly to win that one again. I'm gonna go a little different route here. I'm gonna go with the young upstart with Washington here and see if we can see that team improve upon what we saw them do last year, which was make their way into the playoffs from the second overall pick into a playoff team, and we'll see if they can build upon that and ultimately try and win that division. So that's where I'm gonna look at here on this one. Let's go ahead and head on over and take a look at the NFC North. Who are you feeling for the NFC North? That's 2.
I didn't really say anything. I'm just kind of. I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to win NFC North. I think Detroit losing their offensive and defensive coordinators along with almost their entire offensive staff. I think they're going to have some growing pains. I think this Micah Parsons trade going to Green Bay, which we didn't even touch on in the opening,
right,
is good for, at least one extra win. And if that one extra win is in week 1, as the two teams go head to head, then so be it. But I think Green Bay gets by everybody and they win the North by a game.
Okay. I'd certainly see that one, right? Like they certainly upgraded a lot of firepower there. Yeah, they certainly seem to have a lot of pieces in place, all of that. I'm still going to go with the Lions here, right? And this may be more one of those that that's just who I want to see win it and see what they can do on this one. But that's probably one of my least confident divisions that I feel with my call on that one. So this is one of those that I'm going more with who I want to see win than what I think actually may transpire, because I do think there's a whole lot of rhyme and reason to what you said and why they won't do it. But anyway, I'm going with Detroit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NFC South. Who you got here?
I'm going to take Tampa. I think Atlanta could make excuse me. I think Atlanta could make a charge, but they just got to shore things up a little bit defensively, right? Like Atlanta's there. They have the question at quarterback, which Tampa Bay doesn't have. Maybe that does get answered, maybe not. But I do think that Tampa is poised for another run here at a division title.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I've got Tampa Bay winning this division as well. Yeah, I don't think the Saints or the Panthers are really going to press that enough to try and bring that home.
I think the Panthers going to be an annoying out though. Like that, that's going to be the team. The record may not indicate it, but I think as they continue to grow, the Panthers are going to be a big pain in some people's sides throughout
Right.
the season.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that at the best, though, their ceiling is a 7-10, 8-9 type of season, which, yeah, a little bit of a disappointing season if you're a Panthers fan, even though that's a marked improvement on what we've seen years past, but it still doesn't necessarily get you where you want to go. So, yeah, same thing with the Saints. I think they've got a whole lot of just kind of disarray going, and they've got to find themselves a bit here. Falcons, it could be interesting, but I just don't see them getting over the hump this year. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NFC West. Who you got winning that division? That would be 3.
I want to say San Francisco, but there's something that makes me want to lean towards Seattle here. Like this, that gritty, grimy game, the 12th man, obviously there's a big home field advantage. Like, I'm going to say Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, I certainly don't mind that pick. This is a division that I don't necessarily kind of love the options here, right? Like, although this is very much the Shanahan train, right? We see the up, we see the down, we see the up, we see the down. This very well could be another up on that one, right? San Francisco has an easy schedule when it comes to play. I don't know that we're going to see that one come through. So I'm going to lean with the Rams on this one. And I think they're going to find a way to get over the hump.
Got a lot of faith in Matt Stafford's bat.
Now that is the linchpin to that whole argument. There is.
That's what scared me off of them. Like, I want to like the Rams. I like a ton of players on the Rams, and I love Matthew Stafford, but these back injuries just scare me.
Fair enough. Before we get over to the AFC side of things, we did have another question come in here. Joshua over on YouTube saying Judy or Golden at wide receiver 3 this week. I want Judy.
I think Judy. Yeah, I think Judy's the safe week 1 play.
Right.
If you're hoping, like, if you're like feeling like you're coming up short and the other team is just stacked and you need like big game potential, I'd try Golden because they're going to throw it deep to him a couple different times and see if you can capture that. But if it's neck and neck, or if you're looking for more of a sure thing, I would tell you Jerry Jeudy. Joe Flacco is a traditional quarterback. I think he's going to feed Jeudy pretty well against the Cincinnati defense that's not very good, right? That's part of the reason Hendrickson wanted to get paid, is he felt like he was anchoring that whole defense, and they were terrible last year. They really didn't do a whole lot to add to it. So I think Judy's a very good wide receiver 3. I don't believe he has like massive upside.
No, I don't. Wouldn't be surprising to me to see Jerry Jeudy finish back end wide receiver 2 on a weekly finish this week, right? Like,
I could see that. Yeah,
could
22.
easily see him 22, 23, 22 to 25. I think really is kind of his range of outcomes on that one. Matthew Golden is, yeah, I want to see the guy actually, in pads and playing the game and all of that. And I want to see what this Green Bay offense looks like a little bit more so. Right. Like last year, super run heavy team. The question remains, or the question is that going to remain in place? Are we going to see them throw the ball and air it out a little bit more? Who really is going to be the wide receiver 1 on this roster and for this team? I think Jeudy will see anywhere from 8 to 9 targets. And I think Matthew Golden's probably lucky if we see 5 targets this week. So I am taking the volume play for sure on this one. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
All right, let's go ahead and head on over and take a look at the AFC side of things. Let's go ahead and start with the AFC East.
Bills.
Yeah.
I think they're the most complete team right now. I think the Patriots could be a sneaky dark horse, um, especially if Drake May takes that second year ascension and can help generate some points there on offense. But it's going to be Buffalo for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know that I don't think the Dolphins are there. I certainly don't believe the Jets will get there. The Patriots could be one of those, kind of tough outs again, as we mentioned. But yeah, there's a whole lot of things that got to go right and a whole lot of things that go wrong for Buffalo. I think for anybody in the East to win that division. So I'm there with you with the Bills on that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the AFC North. Who you got here?
More.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's more of a fun team, but Baltimore is a beast of a team. Like they really just are. They are loaded on both sides of the ball. They lost a little bit on their offensive line this offseason, so they're reloading, but I do think it's Baltimore.
Yeah, I would agree with that, right? The Browns, I don't think they're going to be able to make that happen. The Steelers, I think, are going to coast into a very comfortable 8-1, 9-7 type of record. Maybe we see them get to 10 wins. I don't see it, but I think we're going to see them again with that 9-7 type of 9-8. My apologies, a 9-8 type of record. So I don't see it happening there. Bengals could be interesting, but I think that they're playing for wild card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the AFC South. Who you got winning this division?
This division just feels like a cluster. Like it's just like every year they all just beat the crap out of each other, and then it's coming down to like some weird game in week 15 between like Jacksonville and Indianapolis that is not on national television anywhere but besides the division. I think the Texans are poised to win this division. I think that the Texans, it's so cliche. The Texans go as Stroud goes, right? If Stroud can find some sort of median or get back up on his feet and look more like the rookie CJ Stroud as opposed to the sophomore season where he kind of digressed a little bit, I think the Texans should be able to do it. I like D'Amico Ryans. I think he does a really good job motivating his players, really smart on the defensive side of the ball. So I feel like those players at the moment are totally bought in, and I do think that they want to win for this guy. So they're not quarterback controversy like Indianapolis. They're not, new offensive scheme and trying to figure themselves out like Jacksonville, and it's not a rookie quarterback with Tennessee.
Yeah.
So Houston.
Yeah. For much of the same reason, I think that they're just the team that manages to kind of outlast everybody else in this division.
What's I wonder, do you know their win-loss? What Vegas has their win-loss at?
Not offhand, but I'm sure we can find it.
It's no big deal. I think nine wins will get that division done.
Right. Yeah, that is the division that ultimately, kind of leads everybody to always ask the, why is it that we set up division winners and especially let them have home games when, there's other teams with winning records that didn't make the playoffs. But that very much feels like that division this year. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the AFC West. Who you got for the AFC West?
Taking Kansas City. I don't want it to be Kansas City, but much like the same reason I took them last year is to be the man, you got to beat the man, and no one's been beating him consistently.
Right.
So Denver, I want to say Denver. The biggest knock on Denver is they did not perform well against winning teams last year. They beat up on everybody they were supposed to beat up on. And then they beat Kansas City in a week where Kansas City didn't play a single soul. Like, now, I
They,
see Denver pushing,
right.
but I can't pick against Kansas City until someone truly dethrones them.
Yeah. I really don't want to go that route, but for much of the same reason that you just said there, right? I don't know that there's another right. The Chargers certainly coming off of a good season last year, right? The Broncos coming off of a much improved season last year. Both of those teams very well could give them a Kansas City a run for their money. They haven't yet, right? Denver finds a way to lose that game on a blocked field goal early in the season, and then beats them in the when nobody's playing. So as much as I don't want to, I think I'm right there with you with Kansas City on that. I do want to say Denver, but I just can't get there. Can't rationalize that one out. By the way, the season win total for Texas, or for the Texans, my apologies, was 9.5 is what the line set at,
which feels right. That feels right.
Right, which I think 9 wins in that division takes the division on that one. So, very interesting to see how that one plays out there. So depending upon what book you're looking at, Kansas City has the line set at either 10.5 or 11.5 as the over under.
I mean, I'd take the 10.5 and feel pretty good about it.
Right. Yeah, just kind of interesting because normally that line is set much higher than that. Broncos are the same over under as the Texans at 9.5.
Yeah. I feel better about the Broncos getting over 9.5 than I do the Texans by a decent amount.
Yeah, that's a shared opinion there. I'm just curious now when we're looking at this, what do they have the Chargers at? Chargers, they also have at 9.5. So the folks out in Vegas also seeming to believe that that runs through runs through Kansas City again as well. So, alrighty. Yeah, let's go ahead and head back and hit some of these comments and questions up. Binkin asking, you guys going to be doing any DFS content? We'll answer the questions come in. We don't have anything really planned out there for DFS offhand, Binkin, if that makes sense. If there's a bunch of folks asking for it, we'll probably dip our toe there. But
yeah, it's not our wheelhouse.
Right.
Or now, not that we can't. We can go through and talk about it and give our opinions, but it's not what we focus our Friday night show around.
Right. But if you've got Binkin, you know how the Friday night show goes. You were definitely in a fair few of those last year. If you got questions about who to start over who, whatever, like let us know. And then if you've got the DFS spin on that as well, make sure to let us know, and we can provide that input on that as well. So happy to do that. But no, we're not. There's not plans at this time to have your standalone DFS content out there. There are a lot of folks and a lot of very talented folks that we've had on this show before that do exclusively DFS content and are very talented at that. So we tend to focus on more season long and redraft and how to navigate those waters for for wins and trophies at the end of that. Chef, over, is that, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. Chef Nabby is what we're gonna say. That are we dropping Krosky Merritt for Ollie Gordon, Chris Godwin, or Dylan Sampson
In week one, I want to see what role Krosky Merritt is actually going to have for the Commanders and see what that looks like. Godwin, they pushed his time frame back, right? Originally, we thought that maybe he'd be back by week 3 or 4. Now they're saying week 5 or 6. So I do think you have a couple weeks that you could probably sit back and wait before picking up Chris Godwin if you so choose to do so. Dylan Sampson is interesting. It really is. Like, I would not be surprised if Dylan Sampson by the end of the year ended up being the clear one in Cleveland. But it is going to take a few weeks for him to outpace Jerome Ford. So, and then Ollie Gordon, no, not to start again. So I just keep crossing for this week, and then let's see how week 1 shakes out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Right, and I do find it interesting that that Merritt on the depth chart was listed as RB4 coming into that. Right, some of these things are what that kind of looks like, but I think that could certainly change and change pretty drastically here over the first couple of weeks. So, Chef, the kind of my thoughts are is you draft the team that you draft, and you're gonna hold on to that for week 1, right? Unless you drafted super early, right? But most of the drafts really have taken place in the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna go with the team that I drafted week 1, potentially even into week 2. And depending upon how week 1 shakes out, I may be looking to pivot and make some changes there, but not looking to do much in the way of adding, changing, maneuvering, unless there's something just, silly value. Somebody dropped somebody that they shouldn't have. There's somebody out there that should have been drafted in the 6th round that's still somehow hanging out on the waiver wires. Like those types of things would make me move on that. Bacon saying Chris Godwin, he's available. Wow. Yeah. Jordan chiming in saying, yo, sup, good old boys. You know how we do it, Jordan. And Binkin saying the Chargers could make the playoffs, but as a wild card in their opinion. I could agree with that. Mario asking, which running back would you rather stash, Ollie Gordon or Jacroy Croskett Merritt?
I think I want to say Ollie Gordon. This calf injury, I am very sensitive to for some reason. I just have a gut feeling that this calf injury that Devon Achane is fighting with is not going to go away. And what that leads to is, yes, maybe they use him out of the backfield and he catches some passes. That's great. But if they have to use Ollie Gordon more in between the tackles, I mean, he's going to be vulturing some touchdowns possibly. It's just, I don't know. I want to lean Ollie Gordon, but I am not. I am so close on these guys that if you said that, nah, Jacory's the guy, I am not going to. I'm not going to fight you on it. Me, Gordon by a sliver.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that you may see more opportunity with Gordon than Jacroy. This
Just to
early,
start with.
right? Now that being said, right, if Achane heals up and is healthy in week 3, week 4, right? Ollie Gordon kind of value in my mind disapparates very very quickly.
Mhm.
Whereas Jacroy, very well could find a way playing up ahead of the likes of Chris Rodriguez or Jeremy Nichols or Jeremy McNichols. My apologies. Yeah, and even potentially pressing Austin Eckler there a little bit, right? The Austin Eckler certainly on the kind of the wrong side of 30, and yeah, when that when that drop off happens, that drop off comes quick on those running back side of things. So but it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But stash wise, I think Jacroy is probably a more stash in this instance. Ollie Gordon would be more you're picking him up to see what this looks like week one and try and go, right? Like that's not quite a stash in my book. Any other thoughts on that one?
No, sir.
All right. Jordan saying that they could see 3 teams from the AFC West making the playoffs.
I can see that. It's in the realm of possibilities.
Or 3 teams from the AFC North even. Maybe. I don't know that the Steelers have I think the North, it'll be the Ravens and the Bengals.
Steelers just find a way, though. That defense is nasty, right? If they can get the right drives at the right time, which is why you bring Rodgers in, right? Like you're not bringing him in to carry a team anymore. You're bringing him in because he has seen pretty much everything that a quarterback could possibly see. He can get you into the right play, and Rodgers does not turn the ball over historically, right? He just doesn't turn it over. He will throw it into the dirt. He will throw it away. He will dog cuss coaches and teammates on the sideline, but he does not typically put your team in or put your defense in a short field situation. Like he will live to fight another day. So a large part of that is what Pittsburgh's been needing, right? They've been turning it over too much at quarterback, people who can't digest the defense fast enough, and they're holding on to the football. Rodgers is going to get out of his hand quick, and they're going to lean on their defense and run game, I believe. We'll see how much influence Rodgers has over this, but it's possible. I mean, nine wins. I mean, we're talking the same thing. 9 wins, right? Just over 500. Does that do it, or do you need to get to 10? Historically, 10 wins is where the playoff barrier really is. It's not 9, unless you're in a subpar division like the AFC South.
Right. By the way, the line for the Steelers is 8.5 on the win total. Just FYI for everybody. So,
what's their schedule look like?
While you're pulling it up, I'll keep kind of going through a few of these. Binkin given the sad face. I believe that was to the DFS comment earlier, and he chimes in.
Well, their schedule's pretty sweet.
Okay,
it is like they start off Jets and Seattle, so they got 2 strong defensive opponents to start off, and then it's kind of mid-tier. New England and Minnesota. New England might be improved. Minnesota was stronger than what most people believed last year. Right. We'll kind of see how that goes. They have an early bye week, which good, bad, or indifferent. But then they hit a stretch of games that are winnable, right? Cleveland at Cincinnati, which is always a grudge match. Like those 2 teams just do not like each other, so anything can happen there. Home against Green Bay. That could be a defensive slugfest, right? I could see them slowing Jordan Love down, and then between TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, just trying to see who can get to the quarterback the fastest. Indianapolis, okay, at the Chargers, and then they hit a bit of a stretch that they got to win at Chicago, which I think will be a tough game. Buffalo, Baltimore, those are tougher games. Miami, win. Detroit, Cleveland, Baltimore. So it comes in ebbs and flows, but if they win the games that they're supposed to, I could see, like I said, I could see them getting a 9. Like you said, the line sets 8.5. I think I'd tell you 9 just by glancing at the schedule and not spending any more than 30 seconds on it like I just did. We'll see.
Yeah, fair enough. Binkin saying that they can they can help with DFS, and they've taken down multiple tournaments and won the Millimaker twice, actually. Congratulations on that. Follows it up saying you guys are very sharp football minds, to be honest, and that's why I love bouncing ideas and narratives off you. Binkin, we appreciate that. Let's go. And then William over on YouTube saying, need help, standard scoring, Mbuka, Parasol, or Golden, have to choose one. Off the
Mbuka
cuff.
for me.
Okay. Off the cuff, I lean more towards Parasol on this one. And the reason being is that Parasol is kind of wide receiver 1 in San Francisco this week. Mbuka is going to be playing right behind Mike Evans, right? So
I like it for the opponent.
Yeah,
is kind of what I'm playing off of. Mbuka against Atlanta, I like that matchup a lot more than Parasol going up against Seattle.
Right.
And again, just kind of those two teams are a pretty big rivalry, right? Like for the West Coast, they don't get a whole lot of love necessarily, but the Niners and Seahawks do not like each other. So I could see that being whatever. And then Matthew Golden, he's a Hail Mary play at best, but for standard scoring, I think Mbuka is probably going to be your guy here. I also think he has the most likely opportunity to fall into the end zone in week 1 out of those 3 guys.
Could be. I mean, I'm pretty close on Mbuka and Parasol. When I start diving into this a little bit, I do think that they're going to be kind of back to back. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if they're within a half point at the end of week 1 here from a scoring perspective. So if William, what I'll tell you, Kevin feels stronger about Mbuka. I lean Parasol, but it is a more of a coin flip lean than anything else. I do think that Parasol probably sees some more opportunities on that one, as I said before, but you kind of have our rhyme and reason on that one and which way we kind of lean, so you can make your decision based on that. And if you're really feeling Golden, I'm in the same boat Kevin is on that one. It's a Hail Mary shot at best. Not looking to start Matthew Golden if I have other options, and certainly with Mbuka and Parasol, you have other options. Binkin saying, you guys know your ball for real. I'd say more than most other content I'm hearing on YouTube. Again, appreciate those kind words, Binkin. William Binkin also said Mbuka there as well, but Binkin's love for Mbuka is well known in the comments.
Oh yeah, he loves him.
Alrighty. Apple Season over on YouTube is asking, who do you think I should get? I'm first on the waiver wire and have an open spot. Darren Waller, Michael Penix, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, or Luther Burden, D-Hop, Tyler Lockett. Can send the full team too if helpful. Yes, please go ahead and send that roster over. We'll take a look into that. Big and ask who the quarterback was, and Sam Brock Purdy.
So just on the names, I'd tell you, here we go. H.N., Hampton, Nico, Devontae, Kittle. Oh, I'd tell you Luther Burden. Like either you're buying into Chicago's offense or you're not. Luther Burden has gotten a ton of hype in the preseason and just about how well he's grasped the system. There's not saying that that's going to, necessarily translate to anything right away, but this early in the season in a single quarterback league, I want skill position players. Like I am perfectly fine running Brock Purdy out there. Not this week, yes, it's a little tougher. But going forward, the easy schedule that the Niners have, I don't want to carry 2 quarterbacks on my roster, especially when you have Penix, Darnold, or Rodgers sitting out there that you can flip out for a bye week, or something else happens. There's always the possibility. So if you're looking to, it's a use it or lose it, possibly. If it is, I'd grab Burden.
Right. I also don't necessarily want D Hop and Rashad Bateman, right? Same offense there, two wide receivers. You're gonna inevitably get into that who to start type of thing there. Tyler Lockett, I I think we've seen kind of the end of Tyler Lockett's fantasy
I
relevance
have
there, outside of a week.
0 Tyler Lockett's on my rosters.
Yeah, I don't know that I have
Maybe
any.
one dynasty league team where I didn't get him moved in time.
Yeah, I think that's about the only place I might have him as well. I know he was on 0 of my best balls and 0 of my redrafts this year. Um, so I'm leaning on Luther Burden, right? Same thing Kevin said as well, right? And this is one of those that with this spot, you take the upside, you take the upshot on that one, and you see what you can get. Um, so same thought too, right? With the Penix, Darnold, Rogers thought, quarterback by committee at that point if you need a bye week. And Darren Waller, you're not going to really ever start Darren Waller over George Kittle outside of a bye week, right? And at that point, you hunt the best waiver wire option at that point. So that's kind of our thoughts there. Any other thoughts on this one?
Nope.
Alrighty. Matt asking, drop JJ for Kyler.
So I'm going to assume here, since we're talking Kyler as a quarterback, he's talking about JJ McCarthy. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
will
going to
assume that as
assume
well.
here. So as long as that assumption holds true, I would say yes. Or Drake May. So would you rather have Kyler or Drake May? I do like both of them, and very much for the same reason, in the fact that they will use their legs. McCarthy, I think, can. I'm interested to see what this is going to look like coming back from the knee injury. Obviously, he had the entire season last year and the offseason to recover. The Vikings have said good things about it, but I don't see McCarthy running a whole lot. When you have Hawkinson and Jefferson, Addison, once he comes back, on top of Aaron Jones, who can catch passes out of the backfield. Like, I just don't see there being a whole lot of space for JJ McCarthy to actually run with the football of any consistent basis. Kyler provides you that. Kyler can get you, 40 to 50 yards on any given week, some more often than others. And Drake May showed last year that he's not afraid to take off with it as well. He's got some athleticism to him. So I would I would tell you I would like Kyler or Drake May over JJ McCarthy personally. Um, I think I would lean Drake May personally, but I am not. I think it's closer to a coin flip than not between May and Kyler.
Fair enough. I would lean towards Kyler between Drake May and Kyler, but I would take both of them over JJ McCarthy um, on this one. Kyler, I think, gets you that very safe, consistent QB play, right? Like he's going to give you QB8, QB9, QB10 on the season, right? And you're just gonna be able to kind of set it, forget it, and rock and roll there, right? The Drake May side of things, there could be some upside on that one. So depending upon what the rest of your roster looks like, I may be looking at the Drake May side of things because I do think that you're going to have bigger splash weeks out of Drake May. You may also have worse floors on that one as well. But I do think the upside is potentially higher for Drake May this season than Kyler. So yeah, kind of pick your poison, so to speak. If you want more floor or ceiling, I think Drake May is a little bit more ceiling. I think Kyler Murray's a little bit more floor play for you this year, but I think both are a better option than JJ McCarthy. Any other thoughts on that one?
No, sir.
All righty. William, going back to that Parasol, Mbuka, and Golden question, says that they also have Kittle, so they'll split the risk. Yeah, had I known that one, I would have been right there with Kevin saying go Mbuka, right? Spread that around a little bit and rock and roll there. Pinkett saying, well, Derek, here we are again with the Mbuka and Parasol debate. LOL. Not really. Binkin, having Kittle there, we're gonna split the difference. I very much like the Williams thought on splitting the difference and going to Mbuka on that route. All righty. Chris, over on YouTube, 12-person league, PPR, 2 flex, Hertz, Tracy, Sharbs, Justin Jefferson, Neighbors, Bowers, Worthy, and Buka. Bench is Bryce Young, Scattaboo, Caleb Johnson, Kyle Williams, and Jacroy, Krosky, Merritt, hurting at running back. Yeah, those depth charts releasing recently did not help you out much there. But
So Caleb Johnson is going to be a season-long play. Like, don't freak out and drop Caleb Johnson. When it's all said and done with, I think it is just as well that he's going to end up taking at least the lion's share, maybe not overwhelmingly, but at least take the lead position there in Pittsburgh. I think right now you're running out with Warren because he's a savvy pro. He can pass pro. He can catch balls out of the backfield. Like, he's just a little bit more well-rounded at this point. Caleb Johnson works on his pass pro and gets in Aaron Rodgers' good graces. You'll be amazed on how fast he could see the field. So, and again, they have a week 5 bye. So they're going to try some things out, slow roll this. Maybe you lean on your veterans here for the first, 4 weeks of the season, and the bye week coming early is probably a good thing for Caleb Johnson. So don't freak out about that. But let's see. Potential trade packages for an RB1. Well, you're probably not gonna like it, but it's gonna be the best thing you could do is take Bowers and flip him.
Mm-hmm. That was my thought as well.
Right? Look for someone who you want something like Evan Ingram, something like David Njoku, maybe Travis Kelce, Hawkinson. I don't know if it's enough to get Hawkinson back and a number 1 receiver. But that's going to be your clearest path, is to still see if you can land in like a top 7 type tight end and get a running back in return with that. At least that's kind of, as much as that hurts, that's kind of be where I would look.
Right. Yeah, and that was, you mentioned 2 names that really kind of came to mind there, right? If I take Brock Bowers and I try and flip him for Evan Ingram and see if I can get a somebody in like a Kyron Williams range, right? If somebody's, a lot of folks are down on that one.
Josh Jacobs isn't overly sexy of a name,
right? But it could get the job done. Jonathan Taylor, maybe. So those would be kind of what I'd be looking at, is seeing if I could flip Bowers for Evan Ingram back, and a Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams type of running back.
Yeah, and you might get like Chuba. Chuba might be the best running back you can get. Like, I mean, but I still think that's an improvement holistically to your team. If you can get a serviceable start every week tight end, even though he's of a lesser tier, but then you're not having to play Charbonnet or Tracy just yet, then so be it. Because the thing about Charbonnet is we've yet to see Kenneth Walker stay healthy for an entire season. So Charbonnet, there's going to be some run for Zach Charbonnet. There's just going to be. So that's entirely possible. Another option.
What about Bowers for, like, if you could get 2 running backs in that case, right? What about something like this? If you try and flip Bowers for Tony Pollard and James Conner type of range.
I don't know that I'm giving up, because most teams you're looking at, that's their RB2 and 3. I don't know if I'm willing to give that up personally.
Fair enough.
Like, might be Mbuka, right? Maybe you don't want to give up Bowers. Well, you can live with Jefferson and Malik Neighbors and Bowers kind of anchoring your team, but then maybe you look at moving off of Worthy or Mbuka and seeing if you could do that.
Right. And I'd rather move off
Mbuka for Tony Pollard.
Right.
Sounds dirty. Like, Binkin, I think, is having a heart attack. But if you need running back, that might be where it is, because Kyle Williams is not exciting. Like, there surely has to be someone better out there than Kyle Williams.
Right. Yeah, I
I'm
would.
just not a believer. I know he's a rookie, yet to be seen, but I'm not a believer.
Yeah. Worthy for Tony Pollard. I'd try that one straight up and see what you can make happen.
Yeah. James Conner, even, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, float around with that. See what you can get.
Right. Also, the when we're going through that, Binka, just for your knowledge here, I did take Mbuka in the home draft that we had this in the home league this draft weekend that we had. Just I'm not out on him. I just between the two. Anyway, moving on. Where was this one at? Apple season. Back to that deal. He said he's thinking of taking Penix so he can make a nice name between him and Chubb for the team name.
There you go.
Yeah,
Chubby Penix.
there you go. Binkin saying, McCarthy, the brain isn't working very well, but don't think that JJ will be great for fantasy. So, alrighty.
I just need him to be great for Justin Jefferson.
Right? Yeah, I've got enough Justin Jefferson that I need that one to come true as well. So, but yeah, any other, if anybody has any other thoughts, question, comments out there, let's make sure we get those posted in the chat here. We can rock and roll through that. One of the things that we didn't quite call out there was who you got for the end of year game predictions here. Who you got playing in the big one?
Oh man, let's see here. I am going to say pick Buffalo from the AFC side. And from the NFC side, man, oh man, oh man. I'm gonna go with Philly, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't put my mortgage on it, but I'm gonna go with Philly. So Philly and Buffalo.
All right, so Philly and Buffalo. I'm going to follow suit with the Buffalo pick, right? I do think that this is kind of finally their time to get over the hump here. But I'm going to take another NFC East team, and I think it's going to be Buffalo and Washington this year to compete for
I
it
hope
all.
not. What a Super Bowl. Golly.
So, but yeah, that's kind of where I've got that one playing out there. Any other we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up here. Any final thoughts out there for the viewers and listeners?
No, obviously, stay tuned, right? Friday night show, so be sure to tune in to that. 11 p.m. Eastern. Derek and I will go through. We'll answer start and sits, waiver wires, trades. Kind of give some overall thoughts about the slate coming up that weekend. Obviously, we'll do a quick little recap of the Thursday and Friday night games. Friday night game should be over about the time we go live. So. Doing a little recap there, but other than that, I'm just looking forward to it, man. So y'all tune in. Friday night shows are a blast. So once we get done turning the page here, I'm gonna be thinking of all the fun we'll have Friday night.
Absolutely. So, as Kevin just mentioned, right, make sure you're tuning in. Click that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you get the notifications when we go live, and you are rocking and rolling that way. Binkin saying that they did have a Burrow double stack with the Joku bringing back and plugged in Charbs for one of the running back slots, and feels pretty good about that one there for a little DFS this weekend. So. Mario thinking that Kansas City and Buffalo playing in a championship with Mahomes comeback and a Kelsey wedding.
Right. I do think Taylor Swift's going to do the Super Bowl halftime show for what it's worth. I'll call that right now.
There you go. Millie Mills saying, sup, fellas. Not much, Millie Mills. We are calling it a night here and going to be signing off, but we'll be back on Friday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, as we go, get ready for the bet set snap for the weekend slate. Mario saying probably do the wedding during the halftime show.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Big thinking that it'll be Denver and Baltimore in the AFC Championship.
That'd be fun.
That would be.
That would be fun.
Yep. So
Baltimore's crushed Denver the last couple of times they've played, though, so a little nervous for that one, but it would be fun.
Yes. So, but yep, that's going to do it for us tonight. And appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in, all the questions, comments in the chat. Always fun to interact and chat with y'all. Look forward to doing it again here in a couple of days. And we go live for the Bet Set Snap. And that's on Friday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be rocking and rolling through all your questions, concerns, and comments then. So that's going to do it for us tonight. He's Kevin. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe. Toodaloos.